So, you're looking for a romance anime to watch, but you don't fancy getting into something too long? Well, keep watching and I'll suggest to you 10 romance anime with 12 episodes.
得られて当然ですよ。
そのために俺はここまで来たんじゃ。
怖い。何起こってるんですか？
エヴァ。
Number 10, A Town Where You Live. We begin in the past where Haruto Kirishima grew up living in the slower-paced Japanese countryside of Hiroshima, and one day the Tokyo city girl Iba Yuzuki comes to stay in his home. Iba is a bubbly and outgoing girl whilst Haruto is cold and seemingly annoyed at Iba's presence. Iba makes her feelings clear towards Haruto after some time of staying with him, but Haruto is still somewhat moody towards her. Slowly but surely though, Iba's personality starts rubbing off on Haruto and he begins to fall for her, until one day Iba ups and disappears back to Tokyo without any warning. Now we go back to the present day where Haruto moves to Tokyo in his sister's place in order to find Iba and get her back. When he arrives in Tokyo, some things have changed and getting Iba might not be as easy as he thinks. The anime goes back and forth between the past and the present, telling the story of Haruto and Iba's relationship. The art style might not be great, and Haruto makes some questionable decisions throughout the show, but the soundtracks are beautiful, and the anime gave me a somewhat special nostalgic feeling that I can't really explain, so I thought I'd include it on this list. Number 9, Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World.
との間に子を設けることはできません。
それは。
それともう一つ重要な点が。彼女は生娘、少女でございます。
Now this is one for the more cultured individuals out there. Michio Kaga is transported to another world that resides in a game. When he realises that he's been transported for real and that he can't log out of this game, he sets about manoeuvring this new world. He soon discovers that he's been equipped with a special set of skills and abilities that other people in the world don't seem to have. Deciding to become an adventurer, he sets out to the dungeon every day to train and become stronger and also earn money to live. But depending on where your moral compass lies, this show is a bit, well, controversial. Michio buys a slave after saving up to do so to help him in conquering the dungeon levels. And as you can imagine, the slave is a cute demi-human woman, and Michio is a man of desires, and he wastes no time in getting saucy with her. The fact there's an uncensored version tells you all you need to know about this anime. Number 8, Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible.
そのまさかです。思った通りバレてないね。
そういう問題じゃない。
Okay, there's only 3 episodes of this out right now as of recording, but I can already see this is going to be something worth watching. Junto Shuriishi is basically an NPC who is invisible to almost everybody. Nobody notices him at school, and as a result he spends most of his time alone. But there is one person who does notice him. It's the girl who sits next to him in class, the cute and popular Nagisa Kubo. Kubo takes an interest in Shuriishi and begins talking to him and teasing him. The relationship is a strange one because Kubo always initiates the conversation and always goes out of her way to find him, whereas Shuriishi never initiates the conversation because he's not used to people taking notice of him and lacks the social cues to do so. But Kubo is very sweet and we see her develop a small crush on him. The anime is almost a cardboard cutout of Takaki-san, but it's definitely done well, and depending on how the next 10 or so episodes go, it could even surpass it in my opinion. Number 7, Domestic Girlfriend.
落ちないでしょ、特に先生は。
お子様は専門外ですから。でも優しい子は例外かも。
Natsuo Fuji is a high school boy with a crush on his hot younger teacher Hina Tachibana and talks to her alone on the roof from time to time. But being a teacher, Hina is obviously off limits to Natsuo, which leaves him feeling deflated. One day, however, Natsuo goes to a mixer and meets the quiet and meek Rui Tachibana. Yes, Hina's younger sister, unbeknownst to him of course. Rui is frustrated that her friends leave her out of conversations about sex because she hasn't done it before, so after striking up a conversation with Natsuo, she invites him back to her place and they do it so she can see what all the fuss is about and feel included with her friends. Sometime later, Natsuo's dad announces that he's getting remarried and that they'd both be moving in with his fiancée and her offspring. You can probably put 2 and 2 together here and figure out that Natsuo will be moving in with Hina and Rui, and you can imagine the trouble that ensues from here. I think this show is a proper drama and it has a really gritty and slightly somber vibe to it, and it's worth checking out. Number 6, White Album 2.
でも上総ほど真剣じゃなかったよ。
Haruki Kitaharu is part of the music club that is all but disbanded at this point, but he's desperate to perform on stage before he leaves high school for university. The first half of the anime is about recruiting the popular Setsuna Ogisa and the difficult Kazusa Toma and them coming together to put a performance on. The second half of the series really focuses on the relationship between the three of them. The relationship aspect and group dynamic of this anime draws a lot of parallels to My Teen Romantic Comedy, so if that's your thing, it's definitely worth a watch. My favourite part of the show is the art style and the soundtracks. The art is that 2012-2013 era of anime that I love, and it's very atmospheric and has very ambient colours and sounds. Number 5. Taisho Otome Fairy Tale.
とずっとこの大きな胸が悩みだったんです。女学生時代も恥ずかしくて晒しを巻いて隠していました。
Tamahiko Shima has been banished from the rest of his family and sent to live in the mountains alone after being in an accident that also killed his mother and losing the use of his right arm. A girl named Yuzu turns up out of nowhere announcing that she's Tamahiko's bride after being purchased by the Shima family. This series takes place in the Taisho period in Japan that occurred from 1912 to 1926, and in the latter part of the series there's a reference to the real-life Great Kanto earthquake that happened in 1923. Bit by bit, Yuzu's kindness begins to heal Tamahiko's trauma as we watch them grow closer together in everyday life. It's a warm, feel-good slice-of-life anime that has some historical references and some insight into the attitudes of people and the environment in which they lived, which might add some vested interest into it for you. Number 4. My Dress-Up Darling.
泡風呂できるよ。一緒に入る？どうか言って。
Wakana Gojo loves to make Hina dolls just like his granddad does, but due to his love of making Hina dolls, he's an outcast amongst his peers in school because nobody shares his hobby and they don't know how to interact with him. By coincidence, popular girl Marin Kitagawa sees Gojo using the sewing room and immediately takes interest in what he's doing because of her own hobby of cosplaying. Gojo is amazed when Marin asks him to help with creating her cosplay costumes because she's the first person to accept him for who he is and not find it strange that he likes making Hina dolls. They go on various cosplaying adventures together and meet other cosplayers along the way. This might just have been one of the anime of the year last year, so check it out if you haven't already. Number 3. Tonikawa Over the Moon for You.
そしてやばいこれ捕まるやつだ
Nasa Yuzuki is an intelligent guy who one night sees a beautiful girl across the road and feels compelled to cross the road to talk to her. However, he crosses the road without seeing the oncoming truck. Yes, we almost had an isekai, but not quite. But he's saved by the beautiful girl across the road who's called Tsukasa. In a dazed state after being saved, Nasa confesses to Tsukasa and she agrees to be with him on one condition. He marries her. Soon after, Nasa passes out and Tsukasa disappears. Around a year later, Nasa has just turned 18 and is working in a shop, hoping by chance he'll come across Tsukasa once again. Until one night where Tsukasa randomly turns up at his door with a bag of her belongings. Tsukasa came with the intent on taking up their agreement to marry each other on that fateful night a year ago, and a nervous Nasa agrees, so they go to the registrar office and get married that night. I don't think I've come across an anime that encompasses the genre of romance as much as Tonikawa does. Sure, it may be a bit mushy, but if you like heartwarming stuff, then this is for you. Number 2. Real Life.
タバコですけど。
ですけど
なんだよ。タバコぐらいって。
Arata Kaizaki is a 27-year-old man whose life is very much below average. He can't hold down a permanent job and he lies to his friends about how well his life is going. One day after a drinking session, a man named Ryo Yuake appears before Arata and offers him the chance to turn his life around by offering him a pill. This pill makes Arata 10 years younger and in his drunken state he goes along with it. The point of this offer from Ryo was to enter Arata into high school once again to become a third year, giving him the chance to not make the same mistakes he made in the past that led him to the life he currently has. Throughout the series, Arata begins to realise how lazy he has become over the years and recognises the value of effort and friendship. The way this anime is done is rather touching and it sends out a good message, which is to put you all into what you want to do right now, because unlike Arata, second chances won't necessarily come along in the future. Also, don't forget to watch the specials because they really complete the series with a twist and you might just end up with a tear or two streaming down your face. Number 1. More than a married couple, but not lovers.
嫁なんです。
はあ、人妻
なんか悪いな兄ちゃん。
いや幸せにな。
In Jiro Yakuin's high school, they have something called the couple practical, which involves male and female classmates being paired up and living together for a period of time and being graded based on how well they work together as a couple. Jiro is keen to be paired with childhood friend and crush Shiori Sakurazawa, but instead he gets paired with the popular Gyaru and Jiro's total opposite, Akari Watanabe, who also has somebody else in mind to be paired up with, being Tenjin. To make it worse, their love interests have also been paired up together. Jiro and Akari's aim is to make the top 10 couples, which would mean they get a chance to switch partners, but first they have to get over their differences. This is kind of a classic. They start off as total opposites and don't get on, but slowly they get along better and better until feelings between each other blossom, but they still cling on to their crushes for the other people at the same time. The moments between Akari and Jiro that really make the show, and it does a good job of mixing it up between moments of comedy and moments of seriousness between the two of them. Oh, and even for the dub haters, this is one dub you'll need to check out. Comment down below which of these you've already seen and which ones you're going to watch. Please consider liking the video, and thank you for watching.